UEFI specifically enhances the old school BIOS passwords with something called Secure Boot. This is a mechanism to prevent malware, in other words, Trojan horses, malicious code basically, code that can do bad stuff to a system, from infecting the bootloader. Now, it's one thing to have your Windows installation damaged through malware. It's another to have malware infect the boot sector of your computer. That's at a much lower level, isn't it? So Secure Boot relies upon digital certificates that are stored in your UEFI firmware, the actual chip on the motherboard, and will only allow the computer to boot if the low-level system drivers have been digitally signed by a trusted authority. Now, Microsoft, if you're buying a system from Dell or some other original equipment manufacturer, OEM, they will give you, say, Windows 8.1 with the Microsoft digital certificates already stored on the UEFI chip. So if your bootloader gets infected by a low-level driver that is not signed by Microsoft, Secure Boot will simply prevent the computer from starting up. And as you can see, you can turn that on or off through the UEFI setup utility. And each of these utilities is going to look and feel different depending upon the manufacturer. This is ASRock, but there are other UEFI setup utilities by other motherboard manufacturers. The good news, though, is that they all have the same general categories of settings, even though their graphical user interface might look a little bit different. One problem with Secure Boot that you might see as a PC repair technician is that if the user tries to dual boot between, say, Windows 8.1 and let's just say Ubuntu Linux, because Linux is going to want to install its boot files, its bootloader files, and of course those files wouldn't have the Microsoft digital seal of approval on them, you're going to find that Secure Boot hoses the system. It's not going to allow you to dual boot unless either one, you update your UEFI chip with Ubuntu digital certificates, or two, you turn off Secure Boot. It's up to you on what your emphasis on security is.